Hello aspirants, welcome to Mohan Reddy Academy. Today we are going to start with physical anthropology. Lot of students, they keep on asking and they text me also saying that ma'am, physical anthropology is so difficult component. So students from non-science background, can they ace this subject? So my answer for this question is you can definitely ace physical anthropology. So what about those aspirants who has already taken biology in their +1, +2 or in their graduation? For them it will be definitely a cakewalk, but don't think that only medical aspirants has cleared anthropology with flying colors. There are also so many students with B.Tech and BA component also, they have got good marks in the physical anthropology. So if you carefully understand about physical anthropology, so let us understand that physical anthropology is completely stick to paper number 1. Anthropology optional consists of 2 papers. One is paper number 1, the other one is paper number 2. So physical anthropology is completely restricted to paper number 1. And in paper number 1 also we have so many components. We have socio-cultural anthropology, and apart from that we have archaeological anthropology, and then we have the thinker's opinion. Of course, thinker's opinion can be clubbed under socio-cultural anthropology, and uske baad we see the physical anthropology component. Okay, so we see the physical anthropology component and the chapters which deal with the physical anthropology. It all starts from 1.7. From 1.7 Sida there is a jump from 9th to 12th chapters. Okay, so these are some components what we going to study in the physical anthropology. So don't do a hell lot of research while studying physical anthropology, because you are not going to study for NEET or you are not going to write any graduation examination. Stick to always syllabus. And apart from that, we will also understand about some concurrent topics which usually appears in the newspapers. So these are all the things which we will cover in the physical anthropology. Don't worry, I will explain each and every topic. Okay, and after the end of physical anthropology, you will admit that physical anthropology is one of the simplest thing which is present in our syllabus. With this brief introduction, let us start today's session. We are going to start with unit 1.7. 1.7 talks about the cell, the basic unit of life. Take any organism, to that matter of fact, even virus, it consists of minimum of 1 cell. So that is the reason we call it as the basic unit of life. It is called as a basic unit of life. So what are we going to study in this 1.7? What are we going to study in the cell? So there are many organelles which are present in the cell. We don't study about each and every organelle. We will have a very quick understanding about all other organelles. We will completely stick to nucleus, because in this nucleus we have DNA, that is the basic unit of life which carries our hereditary information. So that is how we are going to study. Okay, in this chapter we will study about the cell, and uske baad we will study about the DNA structure, and then DNA replication, protein synthesis. In protein synthesis there are 2 important things. They are called as transcription and translation, how the protein is developed in our body, which is very essential to our body. And uske baad we will study about the gene and how the mutations happen, chromosomes and the cell divisions. So these are the important topic what we are going to study in this chapter. This chapter is little lengthy compared to the other chapters, because it also involves so many things. Don't worry, I will explain each and every topic. So let us actually start with the very introductory part. Let us understand about what is this cell is all about. There are so many basic categorization regarding the cells. We have prokaryotic and eukaryotic division, and then we see the unicellular and the multicellular division also. First of all, let us understand what is this prokaryotic and eukaryotic terminology is all about. Okay, if you are talking about prokaryotic cell, just look at this picture. After looking at this picture, you will have a clear idea. So in the prokaryotic cell, these cells are smaller in size. Prokaryotic cells are smaller in size, eukaryotic cells are larger in size. Immediately after seeing this picture, you can figure out this part. They are smaller in size and these cells are larger in size. So approximately around 4.5 billion years ago, we believe that Earth has actually formed. Earth has detached from our nearest star, that is called a sun. From there, approximately we see that the age of the Earth is 4.5 billion years ago. When the Earth has formed, the environment on the Earth is not conducive enough for the life to get started. Later what has happened, approximately around 3.7 billion years ago, life has started on the earth. How did the life has started on the earth? The basic we call as the amino acids as the building blocks of life. We call it as the amino acids are called as the building blocks of life. Okay, what is this A and A? It is amino acids. So whenever you are consuming protein, when you are consuming protein in your diet, these protein, body cannot directly absorb protein. What will it do in the presence of enzymes? It will break down the protein, and from protein amino acids are released. Those amino acids will be consumed by the body. Okay, so that is the reason why amino acids are considered as a basic unit of life. Is that okay? So these amino acids, because of the various chemical reactions, it is because of the lightning, it is because of lot of rains which are happening. Okay, there is some chemical reaction which has happened. Eventually life came into existence, and this basic life, how it has appeared? It has appeared in the form of prokaryotic, because it is so basic in nature. There are not so many organelles which are formed. That is the reason we call it as prokaryotic. Pro means before, and karyon means what? Both of these two words, that is eukaryotic and prokaryotic, are taken from the Greek words, where karyon in the Greek language, which means nucleus. Karyon in the Greek language, which means nucleus. Before the formation of the nucleus, prokaryotic cells are formed. Before the formation of nucleus, this prokaryotic cell is formed. That is the reason you won't see the DNA material is not enclosed in a membrane. Okay, so the nucleus material, that is your DNA, the basic inheritance of life that is present in the DNA. Don't think that only DNA is responsible. In viruses, even RNA is responsible for inheritance of characteristics. Okay, so the DNA, which is very important, it is not enclosed in the form of membrane. We will understand what is this membrane, what are these organelles are all about. Okay, as of now, just understand that membrane is an enclosure. Okay, if you are staying in a building, the building has an outer component. So membrane acts like a outer component. Okay, so it is not enclosed in an outer component. Here the nucleus is freely floating. Hence not the nucleus, I am sorry, it is the DNA which is freely floating. Because the DNA is freely floating, this particular region is called as nucleoid. This particular region is called as a nucleoid region. Now let us understand about the eukaryotic cell. So here you won't see the DNA, but DNA is very much present even in the eukaryotic cells as well. Then where is this DNA is located? It is located in the nucleus, okay, and it is well protected by double membrane. So because it is very important organelle of the cell, it has Z plus security. Okay, so what is this eukaryotic is all about? Karyon means nucleus, which you have already understood, and U means true. It consists of the true nucleus. Okay, now let us understand the differences between these two. Difference between prokaryotic and the eukaryotic cells. Okay, so here we are presenting in the form of tabular. So here if you see definition, so prokaryotic cell, any unicellular organism whose organelles are not membrane bound, they are called as the prokaryotic. Okay, so example, you can cite any examples of bacteria, archaea. Archaea always implies old. The word archaea always implies old. Okay, so only unicellular organisms. And next you see eukaryotic cells. Don't think that all the unicellular organisms are prokaryotic in nature. It is not true. Okay, there are lot of unicellular organisms which are eukaryotic in nature also. Okay, eukaryotic cells whose organelles, first of all let us understand what do you mean by this word called as organelles. Just look at your body. You have eyes, ears, nose, hands, legs and etc. These are all called as organs. The cell itself is very basic in nature. Okay, the cell itself is microscopic. Lot of times it is microscopic in nature and it is basic in nature. Okay, so cell itself is microscopic, and the things which are present, the organs which are present inside the cell are much more microscopic in nature or much more smaller in nature. Hence we call them as an organelle. it should be pronounced as organelle. The terminology, right terminology for that to use it is organelle. It should be never pronounced as a organ. Okay. So, here you see whose organelles, majority of their organelles are membrane bound. Don't think that all the okay, don't think that all the organelles which are present inside the eukaryotic, every organelle is not membrane bound. There are also some organelles in the eukaryotic cell which are not membrane bound at all. Okay, majority of the organelles are membrane bound. They are multicellular in nature. Example, animals, plants, fungi and etc. Human beings, we are all multicellular in nature. And what is the second category? Cell size, obviously. So, in the previous slide you have already saw what is there. Prokaryotic cells are smaller in size, whereas the eukaryotic cells are larger in size. And next let us see the cell wall. The very terminology wall, it means that outer component. Okay, cell wall, here it is complex. In the prokaryotic cell it is complex because it is the only organelle which is stopping the outside things not to enter inside the cell. So, here what you see, cell wall is always complex and here cell wall is simpler. Why? Because here apart from cell wall we also see cytoskeleton, cellular membrane which we call it as plasma membrane, glycocalyx, okay, all of these things are present. So, it is usually not that complex in nature. And next you see nucleus, it consists of the nucleoid region. So, mention me in the comment section what is this nucleoid region is all about. So, while explaining the previous slide I have already mentioned you what is nucleoid. So, here we do not find nucleus, there is a, so nucleus is absent, nucleus is absent in the prokaryotic cell, whereas in the eukaryotic cell nucleus is absolutely present. And next let us see the chromosomes. What do you mean by chromosomes? Soma means body, soma which means body, and chrome which means color. So, they are the colored bodies. Do not think that chromosomes are very colorful in nature inside our body. They do not appear colorful. In order to see the chromosomes, you definitely need to stain them, you definitely need to dye them, then only they are visible. That is the reason why they are called as the chromosomes. Okay, the chromosomes, only one long single loop of DNA is present in the prokaryotic cell. Here we see more than one. So, if you are talking about the human beings, how many chromosomes are present in the human beings? We have 46 chromosomes. We are diploid in nature. We are diploid in nature. Okay, ploid means set. Di means 2. So, what is the set? From the father we get 23 chromosomes, from the mother 23. So, technically it is from paternal side you get 23 chromosomes, from the maternal side you get 23 chromosomes. Okay, so 23 is called as ploid. N is called as ploid. Okay, so this is N and this is N. So, when you when you add this two, this N and this N, then it becomes 2N. This is called as diploid in nature. Okay, so we have 46 chromosomes. And what about the DNA replications? Definitely there should be a DNA replication which happens in both prokaryotic as well as the eukaryotic cell. Regulates entire genome at once. So, so what do you mean by genome? The entire DNA material which is present inside a cell is called as a genome. Okay, and here highly regulated with selective origins and the consequence. So, the sequences are very complicated in nature. We will understand what is this DNA replication is all about as we progress in the lecture. And next we see the ribosomes. Ribosomes are dot like structures which are present inside the cell, and they are very useful because they help in the protein synthesis. So, why we are constantly talking about the protein synthesis? Because if you are talking about protein, your skin consists of a protein that is called as collagen. As you age, what will happen? This collagen decreases. That is the reason you see fine lines, wrinkle, which will appear on your face, on your body. Okay, your hair consists of a protein called as keratin. Your nails also consist of a protein called as keratin. Your insulin is produced because of a insulin protein. Hemoglobin is produced because of a hemoglobin protein. So, protein is very basic to the cell. Okay, so here what will happen? The DNA replication helps in the genome at once, and here it is once ribosomes, they help in the protein synthesis, they are smaller. Even in the eukaryotic cells also, ribomes are smaller in size only. Compared to the prokaryotic, ribomes are little larger in the this particular thing that is called as eukaryotic. And the last category, that is the presence of cytoplasm. So, what do you mean by cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is also a organelle which is present inside a cell, which is called as a gel like fluid which is present inside a cell. Okay. So, apart from all the organelles, whatever which is present in the inside the cell, it is called as a cytoplasm. So, cytoplasm is present in the prokaryotic cells and it is also present in the eukaryotic cells. I hope you have completely understood the differences between the prokaryotic and eukaryotic. If you really understand, let us progress into our lecture, and in the next slide let us understand the other most important things. So, approximately this is an introductory part for your cell. So, approximately throughout the world till date, we have discovered 8.7 million species. So, how many species we have discovered? There are 8.7 million species. Probably in near future we will discover more species which are present on our planet. 8.7 million species, at least they should consist of one cell in their this thing. Okay. So, and then we see every single species is composed of a minimum of one cell. Okay. So, we see the unicellular and multicellular organisms. What is the basic difference between unicellular and multicellular organisms? The difference is very simple. Unicellular, which consists of only one cell, that one cell is responsible for every function in their body. Okay. In the multicellular organism, multiple cells are present. They are supposed to perform different functions. For an example, if there is a cell inside your head that is responsible for production of what? It is responsible for the production of keratin. It does not produce hemoglobin, it does not produce insulin. So, whereas this insulin is produced inside your pancreas. Okay. So, different cells are allocated for different tasks in the multicellular organisms. And human body is estimated to have 65,000 billion cells. Just look at this picture, it is overwhelming. So, definitely it is more, it can be more than 65,000 billion cells, which makes us, if you actually collect the DNA from each and every cell and if you tie it, okay, you can easily have a one checker to, it is more than checker to your sun and the earth. Okay. So, it is called as one astronomical unit, right. The distance between sun and earth is called as one astronomical unit. Just imagine how many checker you can actually do. Okay. Itna sab kuch ho sakta hai. And what is the importance of the cell? We have understood that they have different functions to perform. Apart from that, they also give shape to the cell. So, we have different shapes, we have irregular shape, we have triangular, tubular, oval, round and etc. Lot of times I hear students saying that red blood cells are round in nature, but that is incorrect. Red blood cells are not round in nature, they have a particular shape which is associated to them. Their shape is called as biconcave. Okay. So, they have a biconcave shape. So, there are different shapes which are actually present. So, the purpose of the cell, definitely it has some functions to perform. Apart from that, it provides shape and then it functions. So, it has different functions to perform and keep the entire system active. And next, the cell consists of different functional structures. So, each cell has different functions to perform, and inside the cell there are different organelles. Each organelle is responsible for different functions to perform. They are actually present. Okay, collectively called as organelles. They are involved in various cellular functions. What do you mean by cellular functions? For an example, let us understand about mitochondria. Okay, the other most important organelle which is present inside the cell, that is called as mitochondria. Mitochondria is responsible of producing ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That is the reason why you are energetic. Now I am taking the class. You must be probably sitting and listening the class, or you are just laying on the bed and listening the class, but it also requires some energy. If you are sprinting, if you are walking, so this all requires some energy. From where this energy is produced, it is because of the adenosine triphosphate. Okay, every organelle has different functions to perform. And now let us understand some small trivia related to the cell. The cell is basically discovered by Robert Hooke. In this particular picture you can see the gentleman. Okay, Robert Hooke in the year 1665 in the 17th century. In the later part of the 17th century, the cell is discovered by Robert Hooke. Okay, so he discovered, so while he was examining this cork, which is usually used in sealing this wine, okay, alcoholic drinks, and you can also use this cork while playing badminton and etc., okay, which is extracted from the plants. While he is observing this underneath the microscope, he has located this type of structure. Okay, he has located this type of structure. So usually prisoners are kept in a cell, and these cells are vacant in nature. So that is the reason he is the one who has named it as a cell. Robert Hooke has named it as a cell. Okay. So because now the particular cork is dead, so that is the reason you are seeing a vacant part. Otherwise, if the plant is healthy in nature, what you will observe inside that cork? Organelles will be present. Okay. So the organelles will be present. So he is the one who has named it as a cell. And next we see Antony von Leeuwenhoek. So here he is a gentleman, he is a Dutch tradesman, and he is a scientist also. What has happened? He built a microscope and drew the protozoa from the rainwater. He drew the protozoa from the, not only from the rainwater, he also observed saliva underneath the microscope. So after observing that, he found certain things which are present. Okay, and hence because of so much of research what he has done, he is rightly called as father of microbiology. And now let us see the cell. So there are different types of cell. We see the unicellular and multicellular cells. Okay, so we have already understood what is the difference between unicellular and multicellular. So single cells examine amoeba, Charlie monas. So we have mentioned archaea is also one best example. Multicellular, human beings are best example for that, animals are best example for these things. And the cell wall. So now let us see the organelles without the membrane. So in the first part of the lecture, I said that there are different organelles which are present inside the cell, and all the organelles are not protected by a membrane. There are also some organelles which are not protected by a membrane. So what is a membrane? Basically, membrane means a compound wall type of things which protects the outside units not to have interaction unless or until they are allowed. Okay, there are some organelles which are present inside the cell which are not membrane bounded. What are they? The cell wall, ribosome, cytoskeleton are one such type of things which are not membrane bounded. And next we see they are present. So there are some organelles which are present even in the eukaryotic cells which are not membrane bound. So they are present in the prokaryotic as well as the eukaryotic. The good thing about prokaryotic is that no organelle in the prokaryotic cell is membrane bound. That thing you have to understand, the basic rule. And now let us see single membrane bound organelles. So there are some organelles which are present inside the cell which are enclosed with only one membrane. Okay, which are enclosed with only one membrane. What are they? We see the vacuoles, lysosomes, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum. They are enclosed by only one organelle. Okay, they are present only in the eukaryotic cells. These particular organelles are present only in the eukaryotic cell. Now let us actually see organelles which are double membrane bound, which implies that they are extremely useful. Okay, what are they? Mitochondria. Just now we have understood that mitochondria is called as a powerhouse of the cell. Why it is called as a powerhouse of the cell? Because it produces ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And next you see the nucleus. The good thing about mitochondria and nucleus. Okay, so here let us understand about mitochondria and nucleus. Definitely in nucleus your DNA is present. This DNA is called as nuclear DNA. This DNA is called as a nuclear DNA. So how you are looking? So whether you are very quick to anger, slow to anger, whether you have a curly hair, straight hair, what is the texture of your hair, whether it is smooth or whether it is silky or it is coarse in nature, whether you are tall or short, whether your nose is sharp or not, from where are you getting all these traits which you have inherited either from your father or your mother, from the paternal and maternal side. Okay, so that is happening because of the DNA. This DNA is called as a nuclear DNA. And next, even in mitochondria also, mitochondria Mitochondria has its own DNA which is called as mitochondrial DNA. This is called as a mitochondrial DNA. So last year what has happened, unfortunately एक बड़ा हादसा हो गया है. Okay, there is a one flight accident which has happened. Unfortunately, lot of people died because of that flight accident, because the flight has hit some medical college and lot of people died. Okay, and it has created so it is constantly in the news. But if you are regularly following the newspaper, so in order to identify the bodies, what type of techniques they have used, mitochondrial DNA is one such technique. So while I was taking class for another institute, I have mentioned this. There is also a reel which is present, you can see. Okay, mitochondrial DNA is always from your mother's side. What you need to understand is that it is always maternal. Mitochondrial DNA, you can't acquire mitochondrial DNA from the father. फादर से आप माइटोकॉन्ड्रियल डीएनए एक्वायर कर सकते हो क्या? नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं. यू कैन नॉट एक्चुअली इनहेरिट माइटोकॉन्ड्रियल डीएनए फ्रॉम योर फादर. You inherit mitochondrial DNA from your mother. Now your question, why it is like that, ma'am? When you have already said that 23 chromosomes from the mother, 23 chromosomes from the father. Okay, so when these two only fuse, then what will happen? You, me and anything is happening, right? So then why we don't inherit mitochondrial DNA? In order to understand is that, okay, we have some gonads. This is called, let us understand this as a ovum. Colloquially it is called as an egg. For every 28 days, females, they actually menstruate. Okay, so for every 28 days what will happen? This egg will wait for 24 hours for the fusion to happen. If the fusion is not happening, it will shed away. It will shed away. That is what is called as a menstruation. For some people it will be for 3 days, for some people it will be 5 days. And those people who are suffering from PMOS, it is no more called as PCOD or PCOS. If you are regularly following the newspaper, it is now not called as PCOS or PCOD. Now what is it is called as polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome. Okay, so for those people it can go from 7 to 10 days also. Constantly the blood keeps on shedding. Okay, so imagine that now the egg is released. Unlike the egg, sperm which is released from the father. Okay, imagine that there is some union which has happened. This sperm will have a life period of 72 hours. This will have a life period of 72 hours. This 72 hours, for an example, so right now the fusion has happened and the egg is not produced. Okay, inside the female body, these sperms are still alive. They are waiting for the egg to get released. They have crossed the cervical path, they have crossed the uterus path, and then they have reached the fallopian tube. In the fallopian tube, they are waiting for the eggs to get released from your ovaries. Okay, once the egg is released, what will happen? This, so the lot of this, let me actually erase properly. So now the egg is released, right? Okay, after the egg is released, now what will happen? These sperms, this is the instinct. Okay, so these sperms will try to puncture this egg. They want to have access to the egg. They keep on puncturing the egg, like some hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands of sperm. They go and attack this ovary. They are trying to penetrate into the ovary. Okay, what is the logic behind of ovary selecting only one sperm? We really don't know. That may be a healthy sperm, that may not be a healthy sperm, but ovary allows only one sperm to enter inside it. Okay, it will never allow polyspermy. What you need to understand is that polyspermy kabhi nahi ho sakti hai. It will never happen. That type of union will never happen. Okay, why it will never happen? Because ovary consists of one nucleus which consists of 23 chromosomes only, and the sperm in its head, it consists of nucleus which also consists of 23 chromosomes. If it is allowing another sperm to enter, then what will happen? Another 23. Okay, that type of union will never happen. If such type of union happens, that will never lead to pregnancy. That will definitely go for abortion. ऐसा polyspermy कभी नहीं हो सकती है. Okay, so here now this head part consists of what? So usually this is the sperm. Imagine this is the head. Here it has mitochondria, and this is the flagella. What is the purpose of flagella? Flagella purpose is to dive it provides a propulsion, okay, so it keeps on diving. So that is the only purpose of the flagella. Here it consists of mitochondria. So what will happen when they try to penetrate into the cell, into the ovum? Ovum will allow only the head to come in. Ovum will allow only the head to come in, and the rest of the part of the sperm is gelatined. Okay, in polity, parliament karke ek chapter hai. There is a chapter that is called as parliament. Have you ever studied what is gelatin? So that is taken from French Revolution. Okay, their Louis is actually their France emperor is gelatin in front of everyone. ఫ్రాన్స్ లో ఏం జరిగింది అంటే వాళ్ళ ఎంపరర్ని తీసుకుని వచ్చి అందరి ముందు తల మీద ఒక కత్తి పెట్టి ఇలా నరికేసారు. దాన్నే మనం గలిటిన్ అని చెప్పేసి అంటాం. Just like that, ovum also does the same thing. It allows only the head part, because head part consists of nucleus. And the mitochondria, flagella, will they enter into the mind? Will they actually enter into the cell? They will never enter into the cell. That is the reason you will never get mitochondrial DNA from the father. So some students, while taking class in the different institutions, they have asked me one question. Ma'am, what if in IVF, okay, in IVF, in vitro fertilization, we call it as the in vitro. In vitro means glass in Greek language, which means glass. So in in vitro fertilization, what will happen? They naturally send these sperm. The entire sperm is actually entered into the ovum. Then it is not like only the head part will go, it is the entire sperm will now get into the ovum. The tab to mitochondria hona hi chahiye. Now the mitochondria is very much present. So for the babies who are IVF in nature, do they acquire mitochondrial DNA from the father? If the question is asked in the personality test, then also your answer should be no. Something which is against the nature, nature will not accept it. Okay. So now tell me, mitochondrial DNA is acquired from maternal side or paternal side? Always from the maternal side only. I hope I have cleared this. Okay, so mitochondria, nucleus, and next we see the chloroplast. So the different types of colored leaves, whatever you are seeing, you see usually leaves are green in color. There are also some leaves which are pink in color. There are also some leaves which are red in color. It is because of the chloroplast, okay, present only, they are present only inside the plants. They are not present inside the animals. They are not present inside the human beings. Have you ever saw any human being appear in green color, appearing in red color, purple color? वैसा combination कभी नहीं होगा. So because chloroplast is only present inside the plants, they are absent in the animal cells. Okay, they are present only in the eukaryotic cell. And now let us see some important trivia. Okay, smallest cell in the world. The smallest cell in the world is called as Mycoplasma gallisepticum. Okay, it is called as Mycoplasma gallisepticum. So it is a parasitic bacteria. Parasite माने क्या है? What do you mean by parasite? Parasite doesn't derive nutrition directly. It actually it derives nutrition from the host. For an example, take the case of lice. Okay, so lot of children usually they have this lice. Even when I am in my childhood, even I used to, when I used to be in my 3rd grade, 4th grade, I also used to have lice on my head. So these lice, they will not directly produce their nutrition, they derive their nutrition from the host. Okay, such type of organisms are called as parasites. Okay, so parasitic bacteria, they live in the primate bladders. What do you mean by primates? There is altogether a new chapter which is present in Anthropology paper number 1, primates. Okay, we are part of primates. Chimpanzee, gorilla, monkeys, gibbons, langurs, all of us, we are part of the primate family only. Okay, they are present in the primate bladder, waste disposal organs, genitals, respiratory tracts, and they are called as the smallest cell in the world. And next we see, let us see the largest cell. Are you fond of omelette? Okay, मुझे personally omelette बहुत अच्छा लगता है, but if you eat omelette of a ostrich egg, okay, it will be this large in size because ostrich egg is considered as the largest cell in the world. Ostrich egg is the largest cell in the world, but if you are talking about largest cell in the human body, then it is ovum. Definitely it should be the ovum is called as the largest cell in the human body. And now let us say the longest cell. Okay, so whatever the touch, if I am touching you or if someone is touching you, you are feeling that sensation. It's because of the neuron. Okay, so it is called as a longest cell. Neuron is called as the longest cell, and the largest cell in the human cell, that is a female ovum. उसी को हम egg करके बुलाएंगे. Okay. And the smallest human cell is red blood cell. What you need to understand about the red blood cell is that red blood cell doesn't consist of nucleus. It is deprived of nucleus, and it is not round in shape. It is biconcave in shape. It has a one unique shape associated to it. It is called as a biconcave. Okay, RBC में it doesn't consist of nucleus, and it also doesn't consist of mitochondria also. Okay, and then now let us understand about the cell organelles. I hope that we have elaborately understood what is this cell organelle is all about. Organelle mane, which is smaller in size and which are present inside the cells, they are called as the cell organelles. They have different functions to perform, and it is because of the different functions we are healthy in nature. Okay, small structures, functional structures which are present inside the cell. Organelle means little organ found inside, not only there are certain organelles which are found inside the eukaryotic cell, otherwise even the prokaryotic cell also. DNA itself is an organelle. Okay, all the aqueous component. So did we understood about cytoplasm? There is a difference between cytoplasm and cytosol. Okay, the entire gel fluid which is present inside the cell is called as cytoplasm. So between the two organelles, if there is a gel like fluid, that is called as cytosol. ఓకే, ఏదైనా రెండు ఆర్గనల్ మధ్యలో ఉన్న యాక్వియస్ కాంపోనెంట్, జెల్ లైక్ ఫ్లూయిడ్ కాంపోనెంట్ని సైటోజోల్ అంటాము. లేదంటే రెండు ఆర్గనల్స్ మధ్య ఉన్న జెల్ లైక్ ఫ్లూయిడ్ని సైటోజోల్ అంటే మొత్తం జెల్ లైక్ ఫ్లూయిడ్ ఏదైతే అది వాటర్ మాత్రం కాదు. ఓకే, సెల్లో ఉన్న ఏదైతే యాక్వియస్ కాంపోనెంట్ అంటామో జెల్ లైక్ ఫ్లూయిడ్, దాన్ని మనం సైటోప్లాజం అంటాం. ఐ హోప్ యూ హ్యావ్ అండర్స్టూడ్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ సైటోప్లాజం అండ్ సైటోజోల్. సో the aqueous component which is present between the two organelles is called as cytosol. The entire aqueous component which is present inside the cell is called as cytoplasm. Okay, now let us see some important parts of the cell, some important organelles of the cell. So we see the cell envelope, next we see the cell wall, plasma membrane, mitochondria, plastids. We already understood that plastids are not present in the animals. Okay, they are present only in the plants. Endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, centrioles, vacuoles, nucleus. इन सारे organelles के बारे में बहुत जल्दी सीखेंगे, and then we will actually let us shift to the most important thing, that is nucleus, and we need to understand what is DNA is all about. Okay, so now let us understand the cell envelope. What is the cell envelope? The outermost layer, obviously. Okay, so the outermost layer consists of cell envelope, and it consists of three important things. We see the glycocalyx, the outermost layer, next we see the cell wall, and uske baad cytoplasm, and then the cell will actually appear. So the aqueous component will be constantly touching what? That is your cell wall, that is called as plasma membrane. So this is plasma membrane or the cell membrane. Next we see the cell wall, and uske baad we see the glycocalyx being the last layer. Okay, cell membrane or plasma membrane, phospholipids, protein molecule. Lipids mane, if you are eating fatty foods, for an example, imagine that you are consuming cashew nuts, almonds. Okay, lot of people are very fond of those fried chicken and etc. So your body will not directly absorb fat. In the presence of enzymes, they break down into the lipids. Lipids is absorbed by your body. Okay, phospholipids. So these are all certain things which are actually present. Now let us understand about the glycocalyx, outermost layer of the envelope, which is made up of macromolecules. They provide macromolecules mane, because the things which are present inside the cell are much more microscopic in nature. So it provides protection and adhesion. Adhesion mane keeps it intact. That is the purpose of the glycocalyx. And now let us understand about the cell layer, cell wall. So what is the cell wall? It is the intermediary component between the glycocalyx and the plasma membrane. Okay, that is cell wall. So middle layer of the envelope. Okay, there are peptidoglycan strands. Just look at this picture. We see the peptidoglycan strands. if this peptidoglycan strands are not present, then what happens? The cell will go for lysis, which means the cell wall will collapse. That is very dangerous. Okay. So the cross linking is not, if the cross linking is not there, imagine that there is no cross linking, cell wall gets damaged or it will go and lysis, cell breaks apart. So this peptidoglycan strands are extremely important. So what is the cell wall? It provides strong support. Look at this, they are perfectly arranged. Okay, and here you can see some pores. So it allows only certain components to go through, and whatever the waste which is actually present, they actually exist from this. Okay, it acts as an entry and exit part. And next, it is the cell membrane which has direct contact with the cytoplasm. Okay, boundary of the cell is composed of protein and phospholipid molecules. Plasma membrane is semi-permeable. What do you mean by semi-permeable? Have you ever saw sponge in your entire life? Sponge, okay, they are squishy in nature. So if you drop some water on it, what will happen? If you are dropping just one drop of water, 2 drops of water, it will easily absorb. Just pour an entire water bottle, then what will happen? It will absorb some water and then it will allow certain water to pass through it. That is called as semi-permeable. Okay, semi-permeable. It also acts like an entry and exit of certain molecules. Cell also needs certain molecules to enter, and there are certain molecules which has to exit out of the cell. All these things are performed by this cell wall, glycocalyx, as well as the cell membrane. So it also consists, it is also made up of lipids and protein molecules, perform transportation of the molecules. This is the function of it. And then let us see the cytoskeleton. What is the purpose of cytoskeleton? What is the purpose of skeleton in our body? Don't you think it is providing some shape to our body? Cytoskeletons also provide certain shape and it acts like a backbone for the cell. It is because of the cytoskeleton, the cell looks in certain way. Okay, provides shape and structure, helps move organelles around the cell, made up of 3 important types where we call it as filaments. Okay, intermediary, actin filaments, microtubules, ये सब आपको important नहीं है. These are all not important to you. Okay, now the other most important component, that is called as mitochondria. This mitochondria is discovered by Altman. It is discovered by Altman, and the term mitochondria is coined by a person. His name is called as Cary Benda. Okay, it produces ATP. We have already understood what is this ATP. It is adenosine triphosphate. Is an organic compound, provides energy to drive. If you are hitting gym, if you are sprinting, for all of that you definitely need some energy. From where is this energy is provided? It is provided, it is because of the ATP only, which we call it as adenosine triphosphate. Okay, so here it occurs here to release energy for the cell to use, and it is double membrane bound. Definitely it is double membrane bound, and it has 2 strands of DNA. So even the mitochondria has 2 strands of DNA. Just look at this picture. In this picture, this is the picture. Okay, let me change the color. Okay, so this is the picture of mitochondria. So here there are some folds here. Okay, this is called as an inner membrane. These folds are called as cristae. These are called as cristae. Why the cristae is present? Cristae is present, it is because to provide space to the organelles. Okay, so maximal utilization of the space. And here can you see there are some noodles like structure which are actually present. That is your mitochondrial DNA. Did we understood that DNA, even mitochondria has its own DNA? हम पढ़े थे, है कि नहीं कि DNA में भी DNA का भी एक उसका खुद का कुछ DNA होता है. That is nothing but called as mitochondrial DNA. Okay, and can you see here there are some dot like structures. What are these dot like structures? They are just looking like non popped out popcorn. So popcorn kernel की तरह दिख रहे हैं. They are called as rhizosomes. Okay, even your mitochondria consists of its own rhizosomes. Okay, so and the fluid which is present inside the mitochondria, the gel like fluid which is present inside the cell is called as cytoplasm. Okay, and cytosol means the gel like fluid which is present between the 2 organelles is called as cytosol. Even mitochondria has its own fluid like structure which is called as matrix. Inside the nucleus also there is a gel like fluid which is called as, okay, mention me in the comment section, okay, but even I will discuss while discussing about the nucleus. So matrix is a gel like fluid which is present inside the mitochondria. We see the intermembrane spaces, and we have already understood that there is ribosomes. This is called as the outer membrane. Okay, so these are the different components of the mitochondria. It increases the surface area. So I am just explaining what are the functions of all of these things which are present inside the mitochondria. Okay, so it has matrix fluid which is present inside the cell, and it consists of its own ribosomes. It has its own DNA, calcium phosphate. This has to be pronounced as calcium, magnesium. It should be never be pronounced as calcium and magnesium. चाहे तो आप चेक भी कर सकते हैं pronunciation. Calcium, magnesium नहीं है उसका pronunciation. This has to be pronounced as calcium, and magnesium नहीं है उसका magnesium ही pronounce करना चाहिए. Okay, so these are the things which are present. Okay, and next we see the outer membrane. इतना सारा सब कुछ आपको important नहीं है. That will never be asked in the examination, but this must be important. This is little important for your biology class, which is useful for UPSC prelims. ठीक है, so ATP generation होती है यहाँ. Matrix which we have already understood, it produces TCA. What is this? TCA is tricarboxylic acid. Why TCA is important and where is it actually present? It is present in all the mammalian cells. What do you mean by mammalian? Mammals. Mammals माने क्या है? Mammals are warm blooded animals. Even human beings are warm blooded. We have certain 98.4 Fahrenheit. It is considered as a temperature. Okay, less than that or more than that is considered as a disease. You can even reach up to 99. Even 99 is considered as a normal temperature only at times. Okay, 99. If your thermometer is showing 99, don't think that you are suffering from fever. Okay, if it's more than 100 or 100, okay, then that is definitely feverish. You definitely need some help. Okay, so mammals are warm blooded. Apart from that, their body is covered with thick fur. Human beings are exception in this case. We doesn't have thick fur on our body. Otherwise, mammals have thick fur on their body. But the most important thing, the important criteria for any animal to be called as a mammals, it is because of the presence of mammary glands. Okay, what do you mean by mammary glands? The females in the mammals, they feed their younger ones with the milk. Okay, they feed their younger ones with the milk. So mammals lo manaki em kanpistundandi? Mammals lo manaki valla chinna pillalaki talli paalu istaru, andike vallani mammals ani cheppesi pilustam. Okay, so TCA, which is tricarboxylic acid, is present in the mammalian cells lacking mitochondria such as mature red blood cells. So plays a vital role in the generation of ATP. TCA acts as an important role. Now let us understand about the plastids. Plastids are exclusively found only in the plants. They are exclusively found in the plants. You can see in this picture, they are completely present in the stacks formation. Chudandi stacks laga చక్కగా బుక్స్ని అరేంజ్ చేసుకున్నారా మీరు ఎప్పుడైనా మీ స్టడీ టేబుల్ మీద ఇలాగే అరేంజ్ చేసుకుంటారా ఒకదాని మీద ఒకటి? ఓకే, డూ యూ యాక్చువల్లీ అరేంజ్ ఇన్ దిస్ ఫార్మ్? Plastids also are arranged in that form only. Okay, so they are present only in the plants. Apart from that, there are also certain unicellular organisms like euglena and etc. They also consist of plastids. Okay, so it is because of the plastids only the leaves, actually the animal like unicellular organisms, they appear in certain way. Okay, if it is consists of chloroplast unte green color, so they should appear green in nature. If it consists of chromo, various colors, they should appear various colors. Have you ever observed plants, leaves of the plants which doesn't have any color at all? Then what is the reason? It is because of the leucoplast. Okay, and even in the cinemas also, in the Indian cinemas, have you actually observed this plot? Okay, so main female protagonist and male protagonist and the hero heroine. Initially they fight, eventually because of something they fall in love, and after falling in love, వాళ్ళు చెట్లు పుట్టలు గుట్టలు రోడ్ల మీద తర్వాత పార్కుల్లో ఎగురుకుంటూ తిరుగుతూ ఉంటారు. దే జస్ట్ ఆర్ సో హ్యాపీ పీపుల్, దే కీప్ ఆన్ రన్నింగ్. okay, singing some songs, and in between this song, while playing the song, while the song is happening, one of the character, that is a male or a female, they cough and from their mouth some blood will actually come. Usually immediately what should happen, they should go and approach the doctor, but these mad people, they don't reveal anything. Eventually after some period of time, they go to the doctor, and doctor finally says, I am very sorry to say you are suffering from leukemia. What do you mean by leukemia? Blood cancer. Leuco, which means, okay, pale. White blood cells are called as leukocytes. Okay, white blood cells are called as leukocytes. Okay, so if the plant అంటే ఇప్పుడు ల్యూకోప్లాస్ట్ ఉందంటే దానికి బ్లడ్ క్యాన్సర్ అనుకున్నారు, which doesn't means that it doesn't have any pigment at all. That is the reason their leaves actually appear white. Okay, so by this, let us actually wind up the lecture. This will go for another 3 to 4 lectures, and after that we will wind up 1.7. Okay, I hope you have completely understood the lecture. If you have further queries related to the class or related to the course, you can actually call to us, you can reach out to us, you can mail us or call us, or place your text in WhatsApp and etc. We are happy to help you out. Okay, that's all for the day. We will meet in the end of the lecture. Till then, take care and bye bye.